And welcome to our latest Insights interview series. And I'm thrilled to have FACCI with us, the French Chamber of Commerce and Industry, who really have stood out to me during this time when events have had to go online or be postponed, because they really have stepped up how they're servicing their members by running events online and offering different options. And I'm thrilled to welcome Jérôme, General Manager, and Flavie, who's the Victorian Chapter Coordinator, with me today to find out a little bit more about when they started moving their events online, have they increased the number, and what it's meant for their engagement, because I certainly have heard some fantastic stories of online events actually enabling participation from people perhaps who haven't made it to events first. So welcome to you both. Jérôme, I might go to you first to tell us a little bit about the Chamber and what sort of events you had run in a pre-COVID world.
Well, so the French-Australian Chamber of Commerce first is a national organization with a representativity in all states, with an operational team on the ground and some councillor as well. Councillor for us are the volunteer. They are all professional and experts in their industry. We mainly work around 6 industries committee now: retail, luxury, new technology, transport infrastructure, defense, aviation, and banking, financial services, and I may have forgot one of them.
Energy and resources. Energy and resources,
which is an important one as well. Well, we always been great and in supporting our members, doing events to help them to be visible, to create new commercial opportunity or create a little bit of lobbying within one specific industry. After COVID, the situation changed in terms of how we do that, because, obviously all the events and physical events are not possible anymore. However, beauty is technology is here, and, everything which we're doing on a physical kind of format are now on webinar. And I think a few companies in this specific technology succeed quite a lot with this COVID, but we took opportunity to this Zoom, Teams, and this kind of thing to stay connected with our members, and we may discuss a little bit more further, but with success, in fact, because having an organization in a country as large as Australia, physical event, it's quite hard because you have to duplicate what you are doing 5 times, in fact, if you want to address the same message to the people. But now with this webinar, you can do one, and people from Perth can be connected with people from Queensland, for Adelaide, from New South Wales or Melbourne, which is amazing.
And that was actually going to be my next question, is when you started running them online, events that previously perhaps would have been just chapter specific in a particular state, have you found you're starting to sort of get participation from different states, or, as I said, something that might have been a state event could just become a national event?
Exactly. It's in the past we had some situation where we were doing an event in Brisbane, for example, and the topic was such an interesting topic that people had to travel to go there. And now, no more border. Even if, we can't travel yet from one state to the other, again, with this technology, we have succeeded to bring people together who will have never met before. And that's a great news. It developed new relationship. It's a new way for us to work as well, because the organization has to adapt as well. Flavie, for example, chapter coordinator in Victoria, is now involved on a national scale as well, because if she's running an event and it attracts other states, she will be in charge of the other state as well at the same time.
And had you run webinars or online events before COVID, or were most of your events in person, networking or briefings or dinners, that kind of thing? So
last year we did 135 events, and they were all physical events.
Yep.
It is funny, but we all know that. But when you are in your comfort zone and you are doing your job as an organization, it's working and it's going fine. Why change? And a lot of organizations were like that before the crisis. And with the crisis, we had to adapt. We had no choice. So it was new for us to do this webinar. We had no choice. We had to adapt, and we are agile enough to do that with success. So yes, it's an innovation for us, and something which I think we'll keep for the future.
Yes, and I want to come back to that, because I'm interested to know how much you'll keep of it for the future when we go back to live events, because as you said, people are finding, that this is allowing a different opportunity for engagement that perhaps they haven't done before. So going back to, say, early March, or even probably earlier, you had your schedule of events for the year of what you were going to run.
Yeah.
And then, as we know, the world changed. Have you moved all of those events online, or have you looked at, okay, what can we transfer online? And then have you found yourself running different events that weren't on the calendar due to what the needs of your members and community have been during this time?
So early March, yes, we plan event on a yearly basis. We got some flagship event which don't move usually because they are according to specific date. The Bastille Day is one of them. The Tour de France lunch is one of them. The Gala dinner, one of our flagship events at the end of the year. This is a rendezvous and already planned. But we had also other events around industry and catch up, more social catch up already planned. Everything changed, I think, if I remember well, the 17th of March. I believe that's when the Australian government released their biosecurity emergency, something like that. And we had an event on the 18th of March with, Paul Bloxham about an economic outlook in WA, in Perth. So we straight away moved to the webinar. So what we did is all the physical event already planned and we already worked on it. We just switched them on online event, informing people about the situation and, offering them the opportunity to join us. So we've been very quick, in fact, to, move everything on webinar. Of course, some flagship event like the Bastille Day or Tour de France were postponed at this stage in March because we didn't know where we were going. And with the news coming from the government, we realized that, in fact, we won't be able to do this kind of event, physical event, but maybe we could do something different. And that's what we are planning now. We try to keep this rendezvous still in our schedule. However, the format and the team and Flavie, for example, for the Tour de France, follow very closely what was happening in France. As you know, the Tour de France moved as well, the date. So we adapt ourselves and moved the date in Melbourne for this rendezvous. And we will look what we can do as per the condition and the rules. So if we can do something with 50 people, we may do a get together with 50 people. But I think Flavie got also some idea of like a kind of program, keeping people connected and following this Tour de France, which is an event, a big event for Australian people love this Tour de France. So how we can offer them the opportunity to still enjoy this event without to be all together in a room at 400 people.
Yeah, and that's so important. And I talk a lot with organisations around when they're looking at moving their event online. Don't just look at moving the format online, but what was the purpose of the event? And, the purpose happened to be that you do, whatever, so the purpose was celebrating the Tour de France, and you happened to deliver that by bringing everyone together in a room. But when you look to offer it in an alternative format, don't just look at what you were doing, but why you were doing it and how you can deliver that. So I love the sound of what you're looking at for how you can bring people together. And Flavie, at a state level, has it surprised you, around attendance? Did you have an expectation of how many people would join into the online events? What surprised you and what have you learned along the way?
What surprised me the most is the online networking event we are running. For example, in every state, every 2 weeks, we are doing a café croissant catch-up. And yeah, it's hard to pronounce, in fact, even in French. And so every time we are gathering at least 15 people together, and they are talking about a specific subject. So we already had 3 in the Victoria state. The first one was about positive mindset and stressless. The other one was about energy. And the last one last week was about transport and logistics. And yeah, it's quite interesting because people are really keen to register and to attend because, you know, you are in the middle of your day. You can take a break for 1 hour and you don't lose time. You don't have to travel or anything. You just turn on your computer, your Zoom, and you can attend. And you have 15 people on your screen and you are able to talk with these 15 people. So in fact, yeah, some of them told me, you know what, in fact, online networking, it's quite good for me because first I can attend and then I come back with 15 contacts.
Yes, yeah.
So yes, that's quite interesting, the online networking events.
And at a time, at a time like this, associations are so important, or chambers of commerce with members and communities that you work with when people are, you know, isolated at home, you know, working from home, they don't have their usual network. There's so much information they're trying to wade through. So it really highlights the importance of a chamber of commerce or a membership organisation that can help. And have you found attendance at, say, and I know I attended an economic briefing that you ran last week. Have you found attendance has, you know, gone up, or you've got different people coming that hadn't previously been to some of your in-person events?
As it is open to all our chapter, in fact, we have more people attending the event than we used to have in live events.
Yes.
So I think it's interesting for us, and we have to work on keeping, of course, I can't wait to organize a live event, but I think that online event is good too. So we need to think about a mix of everything. But first, we have to wait until to know if we can have live event or not.
Exactly, and that's the great unknown for everyone at the moment of when live events and what sort of capacity that those rollouts will happen in. So when live events do come back, what are you sort of thinking around how you'll balance you know, online events, because you know the success and online networking things with live events? Will it sort of be, you'll just keep reassessing as you go of what the demand is?
That's
well,
a good question.
I can reply to this one.
Yes, please.
It is, there's an uncertainty. We don't know what will happen in the future. What we know at the moment is most of people are still looking at their COVID safe plan to go back to the office. That's the first point. Second point is company themselves don't know how they will allow their staff to go to event or not, which is another problematic for us, because if an individual wants to come to an event, it's one thing, but when they have the heart of a business, it's another thing. Also to welcome, to host event. We usually host the event within the company of our members, which gives them visibility. And at the moment, there will be regulation and rules which doesn't allow us to do event to their place. So for the future, what I'm seeing is webinar will stay and it will be an ongoing solution, of course. We'll imagine some hybrid event. That's an option. Having a room with, let's say, 50 people if it's a maximum gathering, and open to webinars this same event to people who cannot come or who are not allowed to come, who cannot travel because they would like to be there and they can't be there on time. Like at the moment, the funny thing is this webinar have a great attendance, I believe, because commuting is not a problem anymore. People are staying at home. They click on a link, they can join a room with 200-300 people. What is missing, it's the human connection.
Yes.
So hybrid solution, I think it's an option. And of course, we are assessing, every week. That's literally what we are doing. Every week, we are assessing what we can do. even more important with the flagship event, which are, the main events. That's something we schedule and reschedule and, plan A, B, C. We've got different options ready, and we'll see what we can do at the moment.
Yep. And it's such an important point you make around even when people go back to working in the office, and potentially even when maybe small events are allowed, that doesn't mean people are necessarily going to come, because personally they might feel uncomfortable coming. As you say, their employer and particularly larger organisations are being quite strict around what they'll let their employers do. And do people want to come in and out of the office a few times during the day when we know we're sort of trying to minimise movement? So it's, so smart that you're sort of looking at it in each stage, and what the behaviours of your members will be, not just what will happen when the restrictions are eased.
Yeah, I think just to come back to a point we were talking with Flavie before, the most important thing as any event or membership-based organization like us, it's to stay connected to the member. Let's not forget the basics, the fundamental of our organization, and offering them the option to have this catch-up. For example, Flavie was talking about catch-up per industry, very specific, offering them this solution of meeting to each other. I think that's what will help us to overcome this crisis and unprecedented time. When you have some issue in the tourism industry or retail, and you offer the opportunity of 15 managing directors, CEOs to meet all together, who are first competitors as well, but in the same situation, we help them, giving them a forum where they can talk without any, barriers, or at least without any stress. It's a cone of silence, and it's a trust environment where members exchange, and that's very important. And I think that's what we will need to keep in mind for the following 12 months, most probably.
Yeah, and you touch on such an important thing of that collaboration, because what I've seen during this is organisations who perhaps are in the same industry, or are in the same chamber of commerce, or same sector, who previously have been seen as competitors, but they're actually collaborating a lot more, because we've got so many shared challenges that coming together and putting the sort of competition apart, but working together is actually going to get a better result for everyone.
Yeah, I don't know if collaboration, it's going maybe a little bit far, but at least having this environment where they can exchange and find out that they are not the only one to have challenge. And if someone succeed to overcome this challenge, how they did it. I think that's very important and that's what we are trying to do with our members. It's to make sure the business is still going, because we are, mainly talking to businesses. That's our role. Yes. So we're trying to make sure that the car is still, driving, and we are still driving, and we don't stop, and no petrol is missing, or electricity nowadays.
Exactly. And that key thing of just going back to why do we exist as a Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and how can we, still support our members with that, and what ways. So I love the cafe and croissant. And as I said, I've been to one of your briefings. What are the different styles of events you've been running, whether it's been just sort of a straight webinar, a guest speaker, or, an interactive networking option?
Do you want Flavie?
No, I don't really understand the question.
So in terms of different format, it didn't change much compared to previous period than COVID. We still have some industry-specific webinar. So really, if you are not from this industry, it might not be very interesting for you, or at least you may not understand. But so industry-specific, it's one of the category. Social networking, it's another one. So we really keep the same kind of different segmentation. We didn't change much that. The name may have changed and the solution have changed, but not the segmentation. And social event, like really social event, we've done a few great events, especially one called Raise Your Glass, which is, very friendly. We're not here to talk business. It's some winemaker offering the opportunity to join around a webinar and explain, the origin of the wine, where it comes from, and how to appreciate a wine. We're French, so we don't forget where we come from. And people join us with, it's a lot of success. It's impressive. And I think it's maybe also due to this COVID and the fact that you're at home and staying at home, you want also to be connected in another way, not only business, but sometimes a little bit more social.
Absolutely. I love the sound of all of those. What has maybe, Flavie, surprised you the most with the events that you've run online, or the networking catch-ups?
For example, for the Victoria State, we organize with our SME and startup members a meeting every 2 weeks with our members, just to exchange with them and to be very close to them with all the info they are looking right now. And we can see that with all the members, this kind of member, they connect, and now they are looking to have the meeting every 2 or 3 weeks. So I think that's a good thing, just to see that now they met and they can't wait to have a live event. So I think that the chamber with this event made its job to connect the people.
Yes, yep.
So that's a good one, I think.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And certainly out of this time, we are seeing innovation, but and not only the pivoting, but sort of really seeing the value that we can bring in different ways. And as you say, some of those things will stay in place even when we go back to running live events. Yeah. So what are some of the events you've got coming up?
Tomorrow, I don't know if this video will be released on time, but tomorrow we got a discussion with our French ambassador to Australia, Mr. Christophe Penaud, and also the Consul General, Anne Boyon. So that would be, it's an event which is, a lot of our members are waiting for, because, we want also to hear from the French embassy and seeing how it's going. First, to see, to also highlight how they worked, and the amazing work they have done with COVID-19, and how to, help all these expats and working holiday visa to go back to France, yes. But also to see the future of the economy and the trade and bilateral relationship with, between our countries. So that's an event coming. We got some other event around logistic and freight in WA. We got some event around defense, which coming soon. We got an event around financial response, Australian and European financial response, to compare and to see what the opportunity are, which is, I think, the 25th of June. Yes. And we have also all this cafe catch-up every fortnight in every state, and cafe catch-up, which can be an industry specific or a sector specific, like SMEs as well, entrepreneur.
Fantastic. I love the breadth and variety. Oh, Flavie, yes.
Flavie,
yes, and I wanted to say we have a Raise Your Glass on the 11th of June too. Yes.
As well.
And I'll put a link to the website in our description, so if people are interested and it's relevant to them, they can tune in. And have you found there's members that you perhaps previously maybe haven't had much to do with, but have really become engaged during this time, or any sort of, it's opened you up to new audiences?
Well, I think there's two ways to see things. Yes, we heard more from the members, especially at the beginning of the COVID-19. Again, they were bombarded by information about what to do, how to do it, can I do it or not? And we help them as best as we can, of course. But most important, I think it's us as an organization who, since the COVID, are even more talking to our members because we need to be proactive. Any people at the moment need to be proactive. There's a lot of our members who were living a situation where, and they had to be reactive facing this crisis. So they're busy. They still have the schedules, they still have the target, they still have the financial to look at every day, their risk management, their cash flow. So they have been busy more than ever, to be honest. us too, we're busy more than ever. But it's a moment where we have to work twice more. And Flavie will not say anything, against that. But it is true. It is at this moment where we're spending even more time with them. So like 6 months ago, we may have spent one phone call to a member every 2 weeks. And now it may be every 3 or 4 days, because we want to make sure we maintain this relationship and we'll help them. Our organization cannot live without members. And our role and our main mission is to support them. So, we came back again to the fundamental of an organization.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic, because it's really getting back to that purpose and that core, and how you can do that in this time when previous arrangements just aren't possible. So thank you so much for joining me. It's really been interesting to hear about sort of that journey you went on moving them online, and what surprised you, and how important just simple things like networking opportunities are for people to come together. Particularly, as we said, we're at a time where they're either geographically isolated or their business is facing lots of challenges because of what's going on. So all the best for the rest of the year, and I look forward to tuning into some more. And as I said, I've loved seeing your emails and the range and the variety that you're offering people, so they can really find an online event that suits their needs, in whether it's the content or the format. So I look forward to seeing how that evolves as we start to move back to work and move back to live events, but keep that high engagement with members.
Thank you, Georgie.
Thank you.
Thank you. All the best.